Welcome back, my global family. This is where we left off in our last video. Thank you for watching. Happy holidays. Anyway, I wanted to share this video that I'm going to share is of me in Almina Dungeon, where we kind of got a tour of and a history lesson of what happened to us before we left the continent. So it was kind of hard. It's footage I'd never shown before. You know, I thought it would be something that I would like to finally share, because I've talked about it, but I've never shared it before. Okay, maybe it's a little noisy out here in these DMV streets. But anyway, the video that I'm sharing was when I was at Almina Castle and the tour that we went on. And it was very learning our true history before slavery, when we, you know, what happened to us on the continent and what we went through to even get to America, to create the legacy that we have created as Africans, stolen from the motherland, born in America. It makes you, you know, I used to be ashamed of my history, but it makes me very proud, because the people who came from the continent, that was stolen from the continent to create the next nation of people and in the diaspora, are strong, resilient people. What we went through, what we endured from the continent, it was incredible. I learned that basically the trans-Sahara slave trade was all about killing as many of us as possible to get rid of the weak ones. So they stole as many of us, killed as many of us as they could before they got off the continent. And when you see the ill manner, the ill treatment that we went through, not only as we traveled across the continent, but once we got into these dungeons, I'm just like, the people who did this and who could do this, they were barbarians. Only a barbarian could do this to another human being. And, you know, you have to be a sadist. You have to be psychotic. I'm going to leave it at that. You have to be psychotic. And I feel sorry for their descendants, because their descendants don't even want to claim them. While we were there, you'll see footage of me, and later on that evening as well, at the Almina Dungeon, they threw an event for us where, you know, we kind of celebrated us just being back, coming back, the door of return. You know, we got to see the fishermen who live right next to the castle, and, you know, that was interesting because they live right next to the castle. They live right next to the dungeon. And some of them didn't even really know what was going on in it. They just know, like, African Americans like to come there. It was odd. And when I say they live right on next to the dungeon, like, they could put, it was weird. We were walking right past the dungeon where we could put our hands on it, and then there were people right next to us that I could see inside their home. That was the oddest thing, but I guess that's like the fishing coast. So it was different. So that night we went out, and then you'll see me when I had my ancestry read to me. So that was fun. It was fun. It was a good night. It was a hard day. I met the King of Cape Coast and the Queen of Cape Coast. Very nice people. Yeah, it was an adventure. It was an adventure. It was life-changing. We got to pour libations to the ancestors, because they have a shrine in the dungeons, so for those of us who want to return. So if you want to return, make sure you bring something for your shrine. Let's get into this video. This is the Global Green Book. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, and stay tuned. I got so much stuff. This is just a special video that I wanted to share on Christmas. Peace. This is our untold story, the Almina Dungeon. I learned a lot.
On behalf, I welcome you back into the Cape Coast Castle and Dungeons. My name is Francis, Kofi Isel, Francis, Kofi Isel. I'll be with you for the next 1 hour. Please feel free to ask questions. Your comments and your inputs are welcome. This morning, our focus would be on the transatlantic slave trade. And that, after a brief introduction, we will visit the condemned cell. From the condemned cell, we move up to the Palava Hall, Governor's Residence, the first English church in Gold Coast, now Ghana. We shall visit the male captive's dungeon, walk on the tunnel, look at part of the tunnel, visit the female's punishment cell, female captive's dungeon. We shall walk.
This part of the tour, I decided to do barefoot. I didn't really have any rhyme or reason behind it. It felt natural. I guess that you could say I wanted to feel the place that my ancestors may have last walked, leaving the motherland, a place that I've been wanting to come back for decades. It just felt right. I could feel the ground on my feet for days after I left this place.
For this situation.
Unsettling.
Let's move to the first English church. From there, we move on to the male captives dungeon.
And I wanted to bring in my milestone. I said I wanted to bring my milestone in Africa, but I didn't know how. It was very disturbing to see they had a children's library above a dungeon where they kept the babies.
He was the first black man to be ordained as an Anglican priest in England. He was equally appointed as the first school headmaster in Gold Coast, Ghana. He served in the castle as a priest and as a schoolmaster for 50 years. He died at the age of 75 on the 17th of October 1816. And so every 17th October, the Anglican community come here to celebrate Reverend Philip Kwaku's Day. Philip Kwaku. Concerning the cause of her death. The school of thought is of the view that as of the time Letitia came to the castle, her husband, George McLean, was having an affair with a black woman called Miss Ellen Bannerman from Accra. And that out of jealousy, she poisoned herself. In direct contrast, another school of thought has argued that Miss Ellen Bannerman might have poisoned Letitia. It has also been alleged that mosquitoes killed her. But as I speak to you, I personally don't really know what actually killed her. She died at the age of 36, around 1838. Here we have George McLean, or Captain George McLean, Letitia's husband. McLean was a Scottish. He came around 1830 as an administrator. In 1833, he enforced a law to abolish the slave trade in this castle. In 1843, he established the first court of justice in the country. As he came
in these dungeons were tiny windows where you could see the light, but there was no light in these dungeons. And they chiseled a trough on the floor where they would pour the food, and I made our ancestors eat out of this. But this is also where they defecated and urinated, so you know it's a lot of illness. How barbaric can you be? Really, how barbaric?
They were moving though, but none of them knew where they were going. Part of the church. Stand here, look at it after we touch it. Place your hands. Don't go far.
These barbarians would stand at this window, at this doorway with their weapons pointing down. It was like a little hallway where they would make our ancestors walk through when they were herding them from one room to a smaller room until eventually onto the boats that they shipped them off to their designated places. And, you know, because they were cowards, basically. They knew they couldn't come near them. It was horrendous. It was a horrendous situation. It really just turned my whole stomach just seeing this in person.
On their way out to go out.
Yeah,
just moving
this is
down.
like one of the
Moving out.
checkpoints
Yeah,
before they got on the ships. This space is not big at all. They kept hundreds of us in these little rooms. This is the checkpoint before they got on the ship. So rough.
They locked them up. Food and water was given to them through this small window. We created a hole here in order for them to defecate here, and then also.
This is where they defecated at. In that hole. Urinated over here. This is before they went on the ship. This is where they were fed through this hole. So hundreds of slaves were kept in these little tiny rooms waiting to go exit. At this point of the tour, we left and went outside to the door of return. And as we were walking, we saw fishermen living literally right next, like on top of the slave dungeons, you know, and they told us that a lot of them don't even really know what's going on. They just know it's an old building, which was so intriguing to me, but I'm not surprised. So we went to the door of return and re-entered. And after that, we got to go meet the King of the Cape Coast and the Queen of Cape Coast. They were gracious hosts. It was really nice. And then we went back to our hotels, prepared for the big event, because we celebrated our return home. Here, when my birthday came around, I was thinking I'm gonna be 50, and I wanted to bring in my milestone. I said I wanted to bring my milestone in Africa, but I didn't know how. And I was talking to one of my good girlfriends here. Her two girls are here. And she said, well,
everybody on the ground, just clap your hands to the beat. Clap your hands to the beat. You know we got to do it in the spirit of fashion go-go in Washington, D.C. We got to put you in the pocket. I said it's me, baby. I said it's
I'm live. I'm live.
Shouts out to all my Sir and Madam folks. I know
Let's
about
see if anybody's going to